Yo, yo, yo! I am Artosis. I bet you thought I was going to say, hey everyone, but nope. Gotta mix it up. And look-see here, EGiNcontroL against EGStrifeCo. And I'm very excited to show you all this rep. I haven't actually seen it yet, but I'm sure it's quite amazing. As many of you know, EGiNcontroL was a Zerg player in StarCraft 1, a former USA champion, a very great player, an old teammate of mine. And he came over to try out for the GSL for Season 3. Really brave guy, came over on his own money. Showed a lot of gumption there. And he came one game away from qualifying for it. Barely lost in his final match. And really, he should have made it in because his Protoss, and especially his Protoss for Zerg, is better than many of the players in GSL. So I am happy to show y'all some games of his. Now, EGStrifeCo, I believe this guy was actually a Warcraft 3 player. He's pretty good at StarCraft 2. And obviously, he's in EG. He's got to be, most likely, at least reasonably good. So he's going to be our Zerg player. And so, anyways, a lot of top Protoss players were whining about Zerg vs. Protoss around the time that GSL 3 was happening. And basically, I'm here to tell you they were completely wrong about any imbalance in the favor of Zerg in the matchup. And EGiNcontroL is going to show you why. This guy actually, I mean, you might see players get far in the GSL, for instance, Hongun Prime. At the time of about the GSL qualifiers, EGiNcontrol's Protoss vs. Zerg was about 10 times the skill of Hongun's even during the Fruit Dealer match. So, not joking, he was at my Niger's house, he sat down, beat pretty much every Zerg on the Korean server, right in a row, all the top ones playing on mine and Niger's accounts. So, anyways, that is enough pumping up how good this guy is at PvZ. We'll have to see. That was a while ago, and a lot of things have changed since then in the matchup. So we'll have to see, has he kept up with it, or will StrifeCo take him out? So let's see here. We do have a pylon go down at the natural. Pretty standard play by StrifeCo. Hey, you're going to do that? May as well take my gas. You know, I have all these extra minerals and whatnot. Good choice. In the meantime, EGiNcontroL throwing up his cyber core to make a nice little wall in. Put a zealot there, block zerglings, yada yada yada. Making that second gas, you need a lot of gas. Since StrifeCo has seen that, he now knows that it's not going to be the zealot stalker all in. It's a ridiculously powerful build. All you have to do is scout to see if they get that second gas or not. If they do, they're not doing it. So yeah, StrifeCo finally going to take that expansion. Should probably start second queen pretty quickly here. There you go. Good play here by StrifeCo. And just kind of droning up. I'm sure he'll start speed pretty quickly here. Would love to see a creep tumor with the next 25. If he does that, then I will be just so happy. We'll see. Please do it, StrifeCo. Please do it. Gateway going up for EGiNcontroL. Probably going to go for a 3 gateway expand. That's what this is starting to look like. Will you? No. Injected larva. Doesn't want to be able to get between his hatcheries quickly. Now speed is upgrading. Drones off the gas. Good economy balancing. Just mining full capacity of drones so you can get more drones and more queens and more hatches, and you know how that goes. And well, he's going to scout outside the main base. Has a Zergling up at the watchtower. Good choice. Another one kind of just running around. This one searching for probes and proxy pylons. That's what you do with the 4 Zerglings. You get 4 Zerglings, and that's pretty much exactly how you use them. So far, absolutely loving StrifeCo's play, aside from the fact that we have not seen another creep tumor. So we see warp gates coming in. 3 gateways going up. So yeah, I would say most definitely we're going to see a 3 warp gate expansion. A very strong, solid, safe build by Protoss in this matchup. And finally, the drones do go back on gas for StrifeCo a little bit later than is normal for players that use this build order, but I think still very viable, very doable. Really helps him get those few extra resources. Throws up a spine crawler just to be safe. That one spine crawler makes a gigantic difference, holding off any really quick little attacks. So smart by him. Now speed finishes up. He's going to be able to scout everything quite easily now. EGiNcontrol's going to want to send a pylon down, make a probe down, make a pylon right out here to block Zergling run-bys a little bit, while he goes ahead and makes the Nexus as well. Might make that Nexus first, though, it looks like. He's got his 3 warp gates up. And let's see, StrifeCo, what you doing? Let's take a look at the unit counts. 34 drones against 28 probes, so very good drone production. Quite good probe production as well. Bunch of sentries, bunch of zealots. Not a whole lot of attacking units for our Zerg, but it looks like EGiNcontroL wants to move out. Now this can be risky. He may want to just poke the watchtower, step a couple steps, and walk back, because if he attacks into this, right now, let's check the production tab, 14 speedlings being made, so he can definitely mess this up quite hard. You go and try to surround, makes him waste a ton of force fields. So EGiNcontroL, very smart. He does only walk up to the to the Zelnaga watchtowers and walks back. That's very, very important. If you lose your early sentries, then Zerg is going to have such an easier time of it. I really can't even overemphasize that. It's not possible to. You cannot do stupid little random timing attacks like that when he's scouting everything. Notice he has a bunch of Zerglings now. But EGiNcontroL did force all those Zerglings, so now he's made a lot of Zerglings that he wanted to be drones, so that's a good thing. Now notice the upgrades. We have Roach Speed and Burrow coming up. That is how you hold attacks that are Warp Gate based by Protoss. So actually, EGStrifeCo really impressing me here. Doing some very good play. Throwing up some additional spine crawlers. That one I'm not quite as sure as. Might want to do some zoning right here. Zone off this area for EGiNcontroL to attack into. Make him walk around the long way if he wants to attack in the third base of StrifeCo. Something like that can be quite useful. Now we see still pumping out roach upgrades, making some roaches, still making some drones. If we look at the unit count, probes have caught up to drones at this point, so StrifeCo's got to be a little bit careful about that and really drone up this third base pretty quickly before EGiNcontroL really starts attacking. And we see +1 attack for EGiNcontroL going up. Getting this cannon at the expansion. Robotics facility going up. He has 4 warp gates at this point. And I hope what we see here is EGiNcontrol's standard play, which is 1 robotics and 4 to 5 warp gates. It's so strong against Zerg. Sometimes you see people overcommit on the robos, and they don't really kick in time for good timing attacks against Broodlord rushes and stuff like that. So it's much better to do the 1 robo style, in my opinion. Of course, sometimes you have to switch it up, but as far as completely standard macro gameplay, this is a great build. Notice the 4th gas getting up pretty quickly, making a cannon just for some safety. And I like the build so far. So EGiNcontroL going to start pressuring some. He has enough sentries now. He has some stalkers. He has just a few zealots mixed in there as well, that he can actually do a little bit of pressuring. Now this he shouldn't think is going to kill out anything, and I really like this by StrifeCo. I'm actually kind of surprised the Zerglings are burrowed as well for the hit points as opposed to how long it takes them to unburrow. They aren't the greatest unit to burrow and unburrow under something. Sometimes better to flank with as you unburrow so stuff can't get out from the middle of the burrow. But anyways, that aside, a lot of roaches coming up. 41 drones against 45 probes. Really should drone up a little bit more, especially considering EGiNcontroL was walking out with only warp gates. You have to check to see, does he have an observer with that army? The first observer is only out just now, so as long as you have some burrowed roaches, you don't really have to make so many. You can drone up still until they actually get that observer. EGiNcontroL looks like he wanted to trap some roaches up there and come down and get some free kills, but did not work out for him. Has a decent number of stalkers now. Does have that +1 attack. StrifeCo in the meantime. Let's check if he's doing any upgrades. And he is getting, well, Overlord Speed, very good, and Groove Spine, so some Hydralisk range. Finally getting that Evolution Chamber up. And his economy's looking pretty good. See in the meantime, EGiNcontroL getting that +1 armor. Getting the Robotics Bay. He's got to start going ahead and getting some Colossus. And just pushing forward, getting rid of some creep tumors here. Got that Immortal out. You know, 1 Immortal doesn't make a huge difference, but once you get about 4 out against roach-based armies, it's actually silly how quickly they kill them. Really 3 shots roaches, so it's actually quite laughable. I'd love to see these spine crawlers move. I'd love to see a 4th base. I'd love to see these bases connected by creep. Other than that, StrifeCo doing quite well. Getting that +1 attack now for his ranged units. Meantime, EGiNcontroL getting his Twilight Council out. And nice burrowed Zergling. Great move to do when you do get burrow. Burrow a Zergling at every single expansion point, and maybe even some other places as well. Just random spots that you might be able to catch unit movements on. Definitely worth it. And EGiNcontroL really pumping out some Colossus and Thermal Lances right now. and having to go all the way back, really slowing down his third base. So that Zerg is worth its weight in golden minerals. Oops, sorry about that. I am so clicky and excited. I am just all over the map in this replay. Now we see he's going to start spreading a lot more creep, mixing some hydras at this point. There we go. There's the spire popping up. Now, the thing about one robo as opposed to two, if you overmake corruptors, it gets very dangerous because EGiNcontroL will have a lot of stalkers, and that's obviously going to help him out a lot against a corruptor heavy army. So the Colossus are going to do a lot of damage, but not be so high in number compared to stalkers that someone can make 15 corruptors and just laugh at you as the attack moves into it. So it's going to be a hard army to engage, one of the hardest to engage, in fact. For EGStrifeCo. We'll have to see how he deals with that. Look at the supplies right now. We have 138 for EGiNcontroL, 175 for EGStrifeCo. So he's got a lot, but if we take a look at the unit counting station, it's 61 drones on 3 base. So that's really low drone saturation overall. If he was this same supply and he had, let's say, 75 to 80 drones, he'd be like way ahead. Well, not way ahead, but he'd be feeling really great because his economy would be way ahead, and he could start really macroing, kind of taking the map, that sort of thing. But instead, a lot of the supply is in fact an army, so this is going to make him a little bit safer right now. But in the late game, as EGiNcontroL develops his economy a little bit more, it's going to be really hard to hold him off. Let's take a look at the upgrades. Drops going up. I love drop play against Protoss. As they move around, you go ahead and just counter drop their main base. Also, Baneling drops can be awesome. Anyways, Corruptor's on the way. Carapace on the way. EGiNcontroL is going on +2 attack. It's going to finish just as this battle starts. It looks like Dark Shrine on the way as well. And here we go. EGStrifeCo going to walk in here. There's a lot of force fields saved up for EGiNcontroL. Really bottlenecking these units. Look at all those roaches not being used right now. So EGiNcontroL doing some great damage with these Colossus. And he is just peeling apart the roaches in the Hydras. Look at that. Force field after force field. And so many of these roaches have really not even fired yet. And while the Corruptors try to kill Colossus, they just aren't doing a good enough job. He didn't make enough because, well, there weren't enough Colossus to verify making that many. So it becomes harder and harder to counter this type of army that is a few Colossus and a lot of Stalkers with good force field usage with Corruptor-based play. So really good play there by EGiNcontroL. Let's take a look at these supplies now. It is so close now. EGiNcontroL 130, 139 for EGStrifeCo. Notice that he is not able to refill his army so quickly. Look at his minerals and his gas staying very low because he did have that lower drone count earlier in the game. Does not have as much saved up. So we see 3 DTs, beautiful move by EGiNcontroL moving over here, and this is enough to actually go ahead and take out that Spore Crawler and then take out the hatchery. So he's going to go ahead and do that right away, targeting down that Spore Crawler, and bam, the DT is going to be able to clean up unless there is some sort of Overseer over here, and I do not see one. There's one right there, but if he just targets his hatchery, who knows, maybe he can kill it in time. We will see. Only one DT really doing that. So really, it looks like he just wants to split this up. In the meantime, we're going to have a little Roach and Hydra drop over here. And EGiNcontroL making a big mistake, just attack moving his whole group into the main base and almost loses a Colossus there. Takes some damage on. He's got to be careful about that. And only losing a few units is EGStrifeCo. So he right now, ooh, will he lose the Overlord? Oh, he does lose one, so loses a bunch of units there. And now EGiNcontroL ahead in supply. He's got the 3 bases up. And still, low drone saturation, good drone saturation, oversaturated at the moment because he ran out. But he is going for the Greater Spire, so he knows, you know what, I need Broodlords to hold on here. See if he can get those in time. That can be very hard for Protoss to go ahead and stop. We see EGiNcontroL getting +3 to his attacks, really keep on top of those upgrades. More and more Colossus pumping out of just this single robo, I believe, right now. Still on just the 1 robo, so very nice. Blink is finished up, but with the 1 robo, chrono boosting every now and then, he still has a decent number of Colossus, but a ton of Stalkers as well, and that's going to help him so much in dealing with any Broodlords, with any Corruptors, and as long as he's got some force fields in there, he's going to handle very well a Roach and Hydra army. So this is just such a tough composition, and he will see that in a second, because EGStrifeCo, he's going to lose a few Roaches here. He's going to have to bring in the rest of his army right away. Here we go, EGiNcontroL walking in. The backside of his army a little bit weaker than the front side as far as hit points go, but EGStrifeCo not hitting at the same time. Here he goes, finally going to hit at the same time, and those Colossus are going to take a lot of damage. EGiNcontroL should be walking them back, but he's going to lose them right away. And definitely a big mistake there, not microing them back a little bit quicker, but EGiNcontroL with a ton of units, just creaming the rest of the army of StrifeCo. Really keeping his macro up. Look at that. Minerals and gas staying very, very low. Blinking in. Beautiful to chase down some of these units, but they are on creep, and they eventually do get away. But he's dealt a ton of damage, taking out this extra base, and it looks like a fake drop going over here. But, yeah, EGiNcontroL playing very, very well. Just now adding that second robotics, also making another Nexus. Of course, StrifeCo knows about that because he does have this changeling down here. And EGiNcontroL going to back up, reinforce his army. Does not want to keep fighting with that. If you just keep pushing with that same army, Zerg will eventually break it down. That's what it's about with Zerg in the late game against Pros. You have to whittle those armies down. Now getting charge, you know, spending a lot of gas on some other stuff. Realizing that charge may be a very useful thing as he gains more minerals. Now let's take a look at StrifeCo. He is making some Broodlords. Now here's the problem. EGiNcontroL going up to this 4th base, and he's going to mine it pretty well. He's got some decent defenses here. He's got the 2 gases ready, so his income is going to be pretty sick. It's going to be hard to actually attack across the map with Hydralisks and Broodlords as part of your unit combination. They're both very slow, especially off creep are the Hydras. So it's going to be hard to attack across the map. What he needs to do is zone up and take half the map. Problem is, EGiNcontroL 4 base, only 3 for StrifeCo because he lost this base. So that is absolutely not a good thing for StrifeCo. Going to be very hard to do anything from here with it. Probably wants to set up some spine crawlers and whatnot, but he does not have the economy. Look at his minerals. They are so low because, again, everything just adds up when you don't have those extra drones early on. EGiNcontroL, even going over here, he does have a couple DTs scouting out the map. Excellent, excellent use of the DTs here. Really punishing the low economy right now of StrifeCo. You know, he does have an Overseer. It's a little bit out there. And EGiNcontroL is going to be able to do a little bit of damage with these. Not a whole lot, though. Maybe it would have been good to split them up. And it looks like some drones going to be transferred over. StrifeCo cleans up the DT harassment. Now, EGiNcontroL army looking pretty sick. He's getting a fleet beacon at this point, as well as +2 ground armor. Excuse me. And I'm interested to see what the fleet beacon is actually for. Will he be getting speed for his Void Rays, or will he be getting a mothership, or what? We will see. It's just finished up. Here we are seeing level 2 melee attack for StrifeCo. And let's see here. He's got those 2 evos up, but again, economy very, very weak at the moment, just recovering. Making the spines. This is not the best place to make these spines. Yes, you want to block this from any DTs that are scouting, but so much gas as opposed to minerals at this point. Really should just be using Overseers over bases and making a defensive line where his Broodlords will actually be protected by spine crawlers, roaches, and the like. So just like he has over here, that should be the same case over here as opposed to up at the hatchery. It's not a good defensive location. So anyways, we see EGiNcontroL. He is walking up. He is maxed out. And what is he making? Flux veins. So that's actually for carriers. Okay. I think, right? I don't even know. Jesus. No one ever gets that stuff. Alright, EGiNcontroL. He's going to attack up into StrifeCo here. Skipping the spine crawler segment. Going over to the side. This is going to be a lot of Broodlords, but as soon as he cleans up these roaches a little bit, you can blink in and start targeting. Notice he blinks in only a group of his stalkers to start targeting, but he's taking a ton of damage on these stalkers. The Broodlord's doing a great job. I love this queen up here. Should have been transfusing. Hasn't done that yet, just kind of fighting its way. And it looks like EGiNcontroL going to be able to break through this army of StrifeCo. And cross air weapons and mothership being made. Ah, Void Rays. It is the Void Rays speed upgrade, I guess. And, well, it looks like StrifeCo may be able to rally in enough to fight off this attack. And let's take a look at the supplies. 103 against 138 with StrifeCo in the lead now, but that mothership, believe it or not, those things are actually pretty good if they ever do get out. The mothership about 1/4 of the way. Which Nexus is he making it at? This one, alright. It's pretty well protected. And making so many Void Rays right now. And just chrono boosting the hell out of them as well. The Void Rays are going to be so deadly. When you actually get like 15 Void Rays, even the Hydras have a ridiculously hard time against them, let alone Corruptors, which are really quite terrible against them in those numbers. So EGiNcontroL, especially when mixing a few extra units, a couple of which are Colossus to really own up those Hydras, his Void Rays are going to be ridiculously deadly. Well, let's take a look at this unit counting station. We have 5 Voiders out, 2 Colossus, a DT, 3 Zealots, and 6 Stalkers. Really a funny amount of units. 69 probes against 78 drones. So ZvP has really good economy at this point. Drones all over the place. It says he has 78. I'm like trying to find out where this 78 drones really is. Okay, so 3 really... there you go. 3 really well saturated bases. And his economy very much picking up now, but his supply is behind. Or, well, it's not quite behind, but for a Zerg, that's a little bit behind at this point. You don't want to be behind the Protoss army, especially when it's all these really high-tech units, such as the Void Rays. And, oh god, my computer's starting to lag because the mothership is so ridiculous. Cloaking everything around it. And this is going to be like such a fearsome group of units. Let's see here. Recall, Vortex, each 100 energy. I don't know. No one ever makes these things. So, well, we do have the Infestor. I'd love to see a Neural Parasite on that mothership. And I'm sorry about the little laggy choppiness, a little drop in frames, but mothership takes up a lot of resources. Wow, wow, wow. Alright, so EGiNcontroL is going to want to stay under that mothership. Well, there are 3 Overseers, so this is going to be so scary, though. Here we go. The Warp Rays coming in, the Void Rays, rather. And they're just going to destroy absolutely everything. This is going to be the most one-sided battle in the history of the game, perhaps. Void Rays against basically things that don't hit air, as well as a mothership in there. So, yeah, EGiNcontroL definitely taking this game down. Very nice play by EGiNcontroL. Protoss players, you can definitely learn from him. This is very safe, solid macro style. You know, don't be scared to try it, even if you've been warp gating full warp gate rushes non-stop. It's still quite a great style. And GG, ZvP GG's. Nice game by EGiNcontroL, and thank you all for watching.